stand part of the schedule. I call the Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr Chairman, thank you once again for the opportunity to speak in this Appropriations, thank you Mr Foss, Appropriations 2011-12 Estimates Bill committee stage debate. And it is an important debate, sir, and I do want to raise for the House and with the public the issue of the finance estimates, because encapsulated in those estimates is the fiscal strategy that this government has embarked upon, one which will lead the country to a dead-end street. Mr Speaker, the crossroads that the country faces are neatly summarised by the choice that's been put before us. On the one hand, to sell down New Zealand's precious state assets on the one hand, or on the other hand, to rebalance the tax system in favour of taxing capital, broadening the tax base, filling in an amazing loophole and giving 98% of New Zealanders a net cut in income tax. We can do that, sir, under Labour's plan while fully paying to keep New Zealand's precious assets in public hands, while paying fiscal debt down to zero earlier than under the government's budget, and by running a fiscal surplus in the same year as the government. Mr Chairman, this election is a choice between Labour's fair tax policy, which will give every New Zealand family $1,000 a year tax cut, and the gaping hole in our tax system being closed, or National's plan to sell off our profitable assets to foreigners. Labour has a credible, responsible and bold plan for the economy, and that is a stark contrast, Mr Chairman, with National's agenda, which is one of privatisation and stagnation. Mr Chairman, it is a wonder to me that the Minister sitting in the chair, after 9 years in opposition, faced with one of the most serious financial crises since the Second World War, in his first budget managed to achieve precisely nothing other than give a tax cut to the highest income earners and to forestall contributions to New Zealand's superannuation. In the second budget, sir, equally lacking in imagination, the lightning strike was to give an even bigger tax cut to upper income earners, put up GST on everybody else, and do precisely nothing to address the underlying structural problems in the economy. And so this year, sir, in this 2011-12 budget, we have the third opportunity for the Minister of Finance to actually show New Zealanders where the economic strategy lies. And what, sir, did we get? Again, a vacuum of ideas other than the tried, true and failed recipe of selling down New Zealand's state assets as a short-term panacea to put some cash flow in the bank while we mortgage future generations. And I say mortgage future generations because the numbers don't add up. The dividend yield on the energy assets is over 7%. The Crown cost of capital only 6%. The total shareholder return on the package 17%, sir. And yet this government proposes to sell them, transferring the future value of those dividend streams to what will inevitably be major foreign corporate buyers. Some people benefit. Yes, some people do benefit. The investment bankers, the accountants and the lawyers putting the deals together stand to pocket more than a year's worth of dividends from the assets that are being sold down. Over $350 million, according to Treasury estimates, could be lost in terms of ticket clipping and middlemen as the birthright of mums and dads is sold down the river. But you know what? It's not just bad because it's bad policy. It's bad because it represents apparently the sum total of National's thinking about how to guide this economy out of the difficult situation that we find ourselves in because of the global financial crisis. Debt, sir, is a problem. All New Zealanders understand that. Most understand that it's not just fiscal debt, but it's private debt as well. But they do want to see fiscal debt responsibly managed. And that is one government debt. That is one reason why Labour's plan for a capital gains tax has been so widely hailed by the commentators. Because it achieves simultaneously a number of important objectives, Mr. Chairman. It pays down our fiscal debt, thank you, Mr. Chairman, to zero, faster than under the estimates being debated today. It allows us to fully pay for the assets, to replace the dividends, yes it does. Mr. English, I don't think, Mr. English, you have yet seen a copy of the underlying spreadsheet. You are in no position to tell us what's in it. But I give you my undertaking, sir, as an honourable member of this House, that our budget plan fully replaces the capital that will be drawn down by this government from SOE sales. It does that while giving 98% of New Zealanders a tax cut on their income tax. 98% earn below $150,000, the inflation index threshold for the new top tax rate of 39 cents. 98% of New Zealanders will be net beneficiaries from the plan to make the first $5,000 of all earned income tax-free. The first $5,000 of all income tax-free. And, Mr. Chairman, that is a very important measure at a time when New Zealand families are suffering. When food prices are rocketing up, I think 7.1% across general food prices the last time I looked, wages up 1.9%, but of course the rich list up 20% in the last year. Well, doesn't that say it all? And today in the House, Mr. Key leapt to his feet and wielded a social development report that said the inequality was getting smaller. What he forgot to mention was the conclusion that it was Labour's policies of working for families that had started to turn that vote around. It was very nice of the Prime Minister to hail the success of Labour's policies when last in government. Very kind of him, but it would have been a trifle more honest if he had said that they were in fact our policies, not the current government's, that had led to that result. So here we have it, Mr. Chairman. On the one hand, a government devoid of vision, devoid of strategy, falling back on the old mantras of cut your way out of a hole and sell the future of our children down the river to realise some cash to pay the piper for the next 6 months or a year. And New Zealanders aren't that stupid, Mr. Chairman. They know that selling the family silver, selling the family silver is a recipe for disaster. And that is why the polls show that an overwhelming majority prefer Labour's capital gains tax plan to asset sales as a means of getting through these countries. They may not like it. They may not like it, but that is the truth, Mr. Chairman. That is the truth. Present New Zealanders with a choice between asset sales and tax reform. They choose tax reform. They want to fill in the loophole that lets the rich list get a 20% income increase and the poor get 1.9%. They don't think that's fair. We don't think that's fair, and we know the government has no recipe for lifting this economy out of the doldrums.
I call the Honourable Minister Bill English.